this going here. All right, welcome to all of you. This is one of my favorite nights of the school year, and certainly not my favorite way to celebrate it, but welcome to our preschool TK-2 first grade back to school night here at San Pasqual. One of the exciting things about this event is that you get to learn a little bit about our school. If you're new to us, you get to learn exactly what the school year is looking like from your classroom teachers, and you get connected to the school in ways that folks who don't show up for this don't. So I really appreciate you guys coming. We've got about 70 people so far. The way tonight works is we will do about a 25-minute presentation. Mrs. Lee and I will give you a little overview of the school, a little update on school reopenings, some information on how to get and stay connected to the school. Those of you who have been here for a while, it'll be old news to you, but hopefully you do learn something new. But tonight is really designed to get you guys connected. Normally when I do our coffees with the principal, we have some chats going on and that kind of stuff. We don't have that on tonight simply because we're on a tight time frame. And I know you're not really here tonight to see me, so I'm not gonna cut into your teacher time tonight. So we'll get done right about 5:25, get you guys time to get over and into your teacher's virtual classroom. So I'm gonna start up right here and share my screen with you and go into a little bit about what we have going on for tonight. So this is our first and hopefully last virtual back to school night for this school year, 2020-2021. We'll have a similar one of these tomorrow night for our 3rd through 5th grade, and then our 6th through 8th grade will be on Thursday night. So if you get everything out of it tonight, the show doesn't get too much better as we go night to night, but hopefully it'll be worth your time. And like I said, I really thank you for joining us. For those I have not met yet, my name is Mark Burrows, and I am the superintendent and principal here of San Pasqual Union School. And Tammy Lee, our assistant principal, is going to be helping me out with this presentation. Our email addresses are there. Feel free to reach out to us. We will respond to you, answer any questions that you have. And if you do run into some troubles getting into your teacher's classroom, we'll be checking those emails right after this meeting. So here's what we're going to cover in the short time we have together. We're going to talk about why people choose San Pasqual Union, especially for those of you that are new to the school. We have not been able to give you the proper introduction to our school. So we hope to give you a little bit more information about what we're all about and why we are a school of choice in the region. We're going to talk to you guys about what most is on most of your minds, which is transitioning back to on-campus learning. And there were some new developments just as early as today that I will share with you. I know you're tired of hearing the new normal, but it's the new temporary normal. Tell you what our distance learning program is all about, how kids get connected, stay connected. We'll talk about how you can get involved, even though we are on a distance plan right now, how you can still be involved in the school. And last but not least, we'll release you to go get into your virtual classrooms. So we have, at San Pasqual Union, we have about 30% of our school population that comes here through interdistrict transfer. And they come here by choice. And they come here for a lot of reasons, but I wanted to highlight a few of them with you tonight. First of all, we take a very student-centered approach. As you may have realized during our spring distance learning, we very much value the teacher relationship. We value the student-to-student relationship. One thing that you'll see in our virtual learning program that's coming out, and it's a little different than what you're seeing in some local schools, is you're actually going to see teachers teaching, and you're actually going to see students engaged in their learning. It is certainly not the learning environment that we would have chosen, but it's the one that we find ourselves in, at least temporarily. And our teachers have been very, very hard at work preparing an engaging program, which is really challenging for kids your age. You know, our preschoolers and our transitional kindergartners and our kindergarten, first, second graders. Virtual learning is not ideal, and our teachers have done a good job trying to balance that approach so that you have a meaningful educational experience in this type of environment, something that makes us a little special. We are very attuned to outcomes, academic outcomes. The last time we were allowed to do state testing, we were one of 5 districts in the entire county that got all greens and blues on the dashboard. You don't have to know too much about it, but the greens and blues are the best scores you can get. And we were one of the top 5 in the county on that. And that measures not only our achievement, but our growth. And so we were really heading in the right direction. And we were really sad that we've had to shift gears and provide learning in a different way. But we believe that the quality of that learning will rival the quality that we do here. We have great experiences here at school. We have a partnership with the San Diego Zoo Safari Park that no other school has. And they're going to continue that virtually, but we can't wait to get back and we can actually go visit and experience that in a meaningful way. And being a school that goes from TK through 8, it's really one of our values and one of our strengths that we maintain connections with our students. The picture that you see here was one of our first senior walks. And our senior walk was when we brought back the kids who went through our school, many of them from kindergarten through 8th grade. When they graduated high school, they came back and imparted their wisdom on the younger kids, the 8th graders moving into high school. You don't see that happening many places. I've had to kick out a couple of our former students who came back and wanted to take pictures at their elementary school before prom or before graduation. Although I didn't like them trespassing, I let them take their pictures and was quite enamored of the fact that we mean that much in kids' lives. And I think that's what you get when you get kids that start at a young age, move through a school, have people that care about them, they build connections. It's something that's really meaningful to them, and we're really proud of that. And that ties into our school as a community and the active involvement that people have. What I did realize is that many of you who are new to the school have not been permitted to come on the school except for a drive-through. Wanted to share this briefly with you just to get a picture of what our school looks like and it's all about. One of our local realtors shared this with us recently, and I was really pleased that she gave this to me. Let me find out how to navigate this screen and get it to show properly for you. It's not letting me get in there. It worked in practice, so give me just a moment. Here we go. So if you've not been on our school before, this is where the kids normally come in at the start of the day. Usually we have hundreds of kids streaming through the gates. Obviously we can't do that right now. The building in front of you is Big Red Barn. Our campus is celebrated its our school celebrated its 100-year anniversary. And when we moved to this campus about 20 years ago, they wanted to maintain the history and the heritage of the one-room schoolhouse from the San Pasqual Valley. So the big barn is our gymnasium, our multi-purpose room where we put on all our shows. The library that you'll see off to the right here has a reading silo connected to it. Boardroom is a replica of our one-room schoolhouse. And I would rival you to find any school in San Diego County that matches our school in its aesthetics and its community feel. We have a separate area for our TK-2 for them to have lunch and play. This is the middle school quad. Middle school classes are clustered together. But while we separate our middle schoolers, we really do look at some continuity of learning, and we have events where the middle schoolers mentor and read to the younger kids. This area out here that you're kind of flying over and into, for those of you in the preschool, that will look familiar to you. And then this is the 2nd through 8th grade lunch area. We're trying to find ways when we get kids to come back that we can use all this space to keep kids apart so that they can still be with cohorts, but separated. Our campus is about 26 acres. It includes a garden that you see there to the right, 2 science rooms, that big red barn that we're flying over right now, the reading silo on the left. The K-1 playground is right in front of you. And our maintenance crew does a really good job of recognizing that if you take care of your school, kids take pride in it. So I really wanted just to take a moment, and I wanted to thank Jerry for sharing that with us. Let me get back to my other screen here and get back into that. Yeah, when I was putting this together, I felt, oops, let me get all that all the way out. I felt really bad that we haven't been able to formally have many of you on campus. So hopefully you get a feel for who we are and what we are. But the big question on everybody's mind right now is, when are kids going to be allowed to come back to school? And our goal since school closure has been very consistent, and that's We want to return our kids back onto campus when it's both safe and permissible to do so. We are getting much closer to that than we've been in a very long time. We had some meetings with County Health today and some of our local school partners, other leaders in the area. And what we found is that we are likely to be permitted to resume some on-campus instruction on September 1st. Does that mean we're going to pour everybody through the door on September 1st? No, it does not mean that. So let me go through a few things with you and kind of tell you what it's probably going to be looking like. We put together a safe return to school plan in August. We had a task force. We had a lot of involvement from parents. We had involvement from our teaching staff, our school leaders. And really what that safe return to school plan talked about is how can we follow the health guidelines and get kids back onto school once we're allowed to do so. We put forth earlier this month a learning continuity and attendance plan to the board that talks about how are kids going to still continue to learn in this virtual learning environment and the transition back to school. So that has already gone to the board. It's going to be coming back to the board later, early next month. But the thing that's been keeping us closed is the fact that we've been on the state's watch list. For those of you following the news, realize that San Diego County was not alone. Most schools in the state were placed on the watch list and remained on the watch list through the better part of the summer. We have fortunately got to the point in San Diego County that if we maintain our current health numbers, if we don't regress in our case positivity rates in the county will be removed from the watch list on September 1st. And the good news about that is it starts to give us something we haven't had in a long time, which is some local control over how we educate our students. We had applied for an elementary school waiver, but found out today that they are no longer processing those waivers because they feel so confident in the health numbers that they believe that all schools will be able to start bringing kids back. We also found out today that the California Department of Public Health is allowing small cohorts of students to come to school for specific needs. And so those cohorts are the ones that we've been the most concerned about, which is students with disabilities, our English learners, our foster youth. And so we got word that we can start bringing those students back to school. For those of you in the preschool, you guys have already come back to school. We started our preschoolers back to school on the first day of school under the child care guidelines, which is also designed under the cohorts. So what you're likely to see is we're working with our labor partners. We just put a survey out to parents. I know we've surveyed you several times. This is probably the most important one for you to take a look at because this is where we look to balance the number of folks that are ready to come back to school with the number of folks who want to continue virtual learning and see how that compares to our staffing. I'm fairly optimistic that we'll have a match. And so we can accommodate folks who still want virtual learning. That will continue to be an option for the remainder of the year, but start on a staggered return. And like I said, get some of those kids that have disabilities, some of those kids that have language needs through the door, do our assessments, do our therapies. And then the plan right now is to start rolling in our younger kids, the folks that are on this call right now, and look at how we can put classroom mitigations in that can get kids, if not 6 feet apart, with barriers and other safety measures. As kind of set forth in this plan here, under the new normal, our main guidance comes from the health experts. And although we have lamented the fact that we had no permissibility to return to school, that was because the experts told us it wasn't safe enough. We feel right now that the experts have given us the green light to start opening up school and given us guidance on how to do so. But the thing that we really have been lacking in this time is our ability to truly provide the social and emotional supports for our students. I believe I have a couple of our new staff that we've hired on staff here at San Pasqual Union. Mrs. Hernandez, are you available?
Yes, hello everybody.
Yes, I'd like to introduce Shannon Hernandez. She is our brand new school psychologist, comes to us with tons of experience in counseling and student supports and program management. And she'll also be overseeing our preschool through 8th grade special education program. So Shannon, you want to say hello to the folks?
Sure. Hello, everybody. Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. I love the energy and I love the climate of our school. I've met some of your students and I've been in the preschool room and I've been in there to meet the kiddos and see the teachers, and they're doing such a good job with, it's so cute. The kids have their little masks on and they're social distancing, but they're having fun and they're learning and they're singing and they're playing. So I have confidence that we can come back slowly and everything will work out just fine. I think the kids are going to acclimate great. If our preschoolers can do it, then I think the rest of our kiddos can do it. So I'm just really happy to be here. Everybody's been so welcoming and I look forward to meeting all of you.
All right, well, thank you, Shannon. And then we
Thank you.
also have a new addition to our team. Irene, are you with us tonight?
Yes, I am.
Yes. And so Irene, I always hesitate to say your name because I don't think I've said it right yet. So can you introduce yourself to everyone?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Miss Amesqua, and my first name is Irene. It is very nice to virtually meet all of you. I am the new elementary educational specialist for grades kinder through 5th grade. So I've met most of my students and most of the parents and families that I've worked with, so I'm so excited. Y por las familias que hablan español, yo soy maestra Amezcua y yo soy la nueva educación especialista de los grados de primaria. So I'm very excited to work with all of you.
Well, thank you, Ms. Amesqua. We are so pleased to have both of you join us. It has never been a more important time for us to have emotional and social supports. And we were so fortunate to bring these ladies on board. So thank you for joining us and thank you for introducing yourselves. Last piece I wanted to talk to you guys about before I turn this over to Mrs. Lee is one of the things that we're looking at when we open up the school, in addition to the needs of our kids, is the needs of our parents and the needs of our staff. We know these school closures have been tremendously impactful on you, and they've been tremendously impactful on our staff, and there's a lot of considerations when school gets open. So we put a survey out to you just about an hour or so ago. We've already got about 70 people who have responded. It's only a few questions, but it really it tells us kind of who's coming back and who has some hesitancy and wants to stay in a virtual environment. Speaking of the virtual environment, it is not emergency teaching. I know that when we made this transition in the spring, there was some really quick turnaround, and it really felt like we were teaching in an emergency. Now it's virtual teaching. We expect students that are in the kindergarten or the 1st grade or 2nd grade to be learning kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade materials. And our teachers have been really thoughtful, and they'll explain this to you tonight, about developing a schedule that takes into consideration students' attention span, their ability to work independently, their need to have a teacher connected to them. So you'll see a lot of small groups and a lot of off-on groups. We know this puts a tremendous burden on you, and we really thank you for partnering with us. But know that we've been really thoughtful on the schedules that we've created, but we know that it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. So as we'll encourage you, continue to communicate with your child's teacher, because the hardest folks to teach are our littlest folks. They're not designed to be taught through a computer. They get so much more out of social interactions in classrooms. So we're trying to bring them back, but in the meantime, we really thank you for your partnership and your support. So I think Mrs. Lee was going to talk a little bit about our thoughts on accountability and flexibility.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go really fast because we want to turn you over to your teachers at 5:25. As Mr. Burrows said, our goal is to get everyone safely back on campus, but while we remain in distance learning, we have been working with parents and staff on accountability with flexibility. So we do ask that your students participate in the Zooms, they're there on the Zooms, and they turn in their assignments. If for some reason, we've already been working with a few families that the synchronous Zooms are a little bit too much and they need some asynchronous work, and students work better with a list of work from the Google Classroom and checking in with the teacher. If you need that kind of flexibility and assistance, please don't hesitate to communicate those needs to your teacher, and we can make it work. one of the questions that I know a first grade teacher was asked today is, why do we have group 1 and group 2? And that was very purposeful and thoughtful with the attention span of the younger students primarily. The teacher can manage about half of the class on the Zoom and keep the participation going. And it helps with the students' attention span to have that split into 2 groups. So that was part of the reasoning behind that. Mr. Bros, can I have the next slide, please? Middle school has created an expectations sheet geared for Zoom, and it's applicable to all students. One of the things that's hard, and you might see this on our Zoom tonight, is a lot of people have their cameras turned off. And so as the teacher, you're teaching, you'd like the students to have their cameras turned on so that maybe you could check on their engagement levels, see if they look confused, see if you need to check in with them. So keep cameras on, keep yourself on mute when you're not speaking, and don't get distracted with other tabs and whatnot. It's hard for us as adults to do that. And I can imagine it's hard for the kiddos too. Next slide, please. We are consolidating our distribution times, and oh my gosh, was last week not amazing when we had all the students drive through campus to pick up their supplies. I know we were all so excited to see everyone, and every family that came through sure seemed excited to be on campus, picking up supplies and meeting their teachers. We will continue to give out supplies on Fridays, and we don't want to interrupt instructional time. So that will be between 12 and 3 o'clock. So that will include your library books. So that's different than we've done with the curbside library in the past. So library books, packets, you can turn in packets, you can turn in library books. Anything that needs to go back and forth will happen on Fridays from 12 to 3. And this little picture here is an image of a poor teacher that's been on Zoom for 5 hours. I saw an email from Mr. Perez today that he's not used to talking for 5 hours straight, and he's getting pretty hoarse. It's hard to talk to the computer for that long. Next slide. We've got different ways for you to stay in touch with us. And this week we've been testing out our mass communication. So make sure that you're signed up to receive our emails. One went out on Friday. A phone message went out on Monday, and a text message for the survey went out today. So those are the 3 different ways that the school will communicate with you. And we promise we won't be sending out as many as we have this week. We try to consolidate those messages and use the best venue to get the message across. So do sign up for the text messages, because that will primarily be quick reminders, or even if we get into an emergency situation due to possible fire in the area or power outage, it's a way that we can communicate with you so that not everyone has to call the front office, because only one of you can get through at a time. And then the teachers have their learning management systems that you've already been getting used to, hopefully, the Seesaw in the younger grades and Google Classroom in the older grades. You can access student grades through Parent View. So give us a call in the office if you need assistance with that. That's how you registered for school. And then stay connected with social media. Get involved. I should have already stopped talking by now, but I'm gonna, one more slide, Mr. Burrows. We have an amazing group of parents on campus. And if you haven't had the opportunity to join a group, these are all the groups that we have. School Site Council is an advisory council. So we will present budget and ideas, and you will be able to have back and forth dialogue and feedback in a small setting with us. We do appreciate volunteers signing up for that. PTO is doing a virtual book fair this year. We can hook you up with Ms. Vitale, who continues to be our PTO president. Just going through the list, anything that looks interesting to you, reach out to us, and we will help you meet the people in charge of that. And when we roll back into school with the students, we're going to start with essential volunteers, but at some point we sure want to get back to where we used to be with our big, huge festivals and fun events that we had that we rely on parents to really bring out for us. So that's a good time. I'm going to turn this over to Lindsay Dean, who is representing our foundation, and she's going to tell you a little bit about what the foundation does. Lindsay, are you on here?
I'm here. How's it going?
You have 90 seconds.
Okay, I can do that. I'm a fast talker. Okay. Hi, guys. I'm Lindsay Dean, one of your Sample Squall School Foundation board members. I have two kiddos. I have Avery, who's in Mrs. Greno's first grade class, and Presley, who's set to attend the preschool program. Some of you guys might recognize me from bugging you to attend a bunch of our virtual or our events rather on campus. But the Sample Squall School Foundation has been working hard this summer, navigating these super challenging times for our kiddos. We continue to be committed to educational excellence for every student here at Sample Squall Union. This year, however, presents many unique challenges. Our flat per pupil funding, coupled with state and federal budget uncertainties, negatively impacts several of our school programs. When you add that to a decline of 81 students over the past 2 years, we face a revenue loss of nearly $700,000 annually for our school. So that's roughly 10% of our school's operating budget. Therefore, our foundation goal this year is to support the school's enrichment opportunities by raising funds to help bridge that enormous gap. Thanks to many of you, our biggest fundraiser year was 2019, where we raised $90,000 through family donations, corporate match funds, corporate sponsorships, and event revenue. Those donations have been put to use ensuring the continuity, of educational programs and technology during these unprecedented times. We were looking forward in spring to throwing a totally rad and 80s fundraising event. However, we want to ensure that families stay safe, and we are excited to make that event a totally 80s virtual fundraising event. So for those of you like myself who love a good theme party, you still have the chance to dress up and enjoy a fantastic silent auction, an 80s virtual contest with prizes, and get the whole family involved by dressing up in your best 80s apparel. So write this down on your Trapper Keeper or on the sidewall of your fave pair of Vans. We have Sunday, October 11th at 6 p.m. You can get pre-registered at spufoundation.com/events for the event. You can follow us on Instagram at SPU Foundation for event updates and to upload your totally awesome 80s pictures, which we'd love to use for the event. And of course, hashtag SPU Totally 80s. If you guys have any auction baskets or class art from last year, please feel free to turn them into Pamela Hansen during the drive-through on Friday from 12 to 3. In addition, our annual green envelope campaign is also going virtual online. So please visit our website, spufoundation.com. Take the opportunity to share the campaign with friends and family who want to help support your students and the vital programs at SPU. Those who donate $100 or more will receive VIP access to the virtual 80s auction and a chance to buy it now before the general public can do so. You guys, now more than ever, we need your help. You can partner with us in the following ways. You can join us and register for the Totally 80s virtual event. Consider making a direct donation through our website and our virtual green envelope. If you own a business, we'd love to feature you as one of our corporate sponsors. And if your company offers donation match programs, please consider Sample Squall Union. And if you don't know if they do, please ask them. You can contact your HR to find out if they have that program. We are a 501c3 and all of your donations are tax deductible. And we are always looking for great people to join our board and volunteer of time and talent. It takes each of us to make a difference for all of us, and we hope that you can join us in making this year amazing, and we can't wait to see you guys back on campus. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Lindsay. We really appreciate the work that our foundation has done. We've had some really tough times, and the foundation has not missed a beat. So we are very, very pleased that they are still looking out for our kids, even though we're in some tough times. But we are at the end of our presentation, and it is time for you guys to head on over into a new Zoom. You should have received an invitation from your classroom teacher. So if you have any challenges getting into that Zoom, please email me or Mrs. Lee or Mrs. Hansen, and we'll be happy to get you connected. Otherwise, enjoy your night, and thank you very much for joining us.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. Have a good night.